Welcome to the Undrafted Uncensored cast of Pod. Hosted by Nick Archuleta. Mosted by Colin Zanger. And last but certainly is least, Joseph Goodwin.
Welcome everyone to Undrafted Uncensored, where I don't know about you guys, I'm a good sport, and I'm not going to go whipping my opponents in this handshake line with my belts after we just put a 70 burger on them.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that one kid got after him.
Yeah, he did.
I wish he would have pushed him a little harder. That was
a little bit unnecessary. Like, come on, you just walked all over these kids, and like, that's where you go.
I didn't see it, but sounds bad, but also funny.
So in Texas, there's this team that just dominated their opponent. It was like 72-0 or something like that.
Like high school?
They scored in 70. Yeah, they scored over 70 points.
Wow.
And so in the handshake line, they're going down, and usually it's just, hey, good game, good game, good game. Well, the team that won decided they were going to take their belts and like smack the other team on the butt as they spank them on the way past them after shaking their hand. I'm like, no, not cool.
Could that be considered sexual assault?
No.
Could be assault.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, charge the entire. I want
every
the
kid with a
team
belt
to file like a civil lawsuit and just sue all of them for assault.
Yeah, I thought that was extremely unnecessary, and I'm just like, how are you allowing this as a coach?
Like
you're at the end of the line. Every handshake line I've been a part of, the coach is at the end of the line to make sure there's no shenanigans. How are you allowing shenanigans?
I wonder if the other team started it. Like there's got to be some kind of like reason that they decide. Like maybe there's a big rivalry, or like they haven't beaten this team in a long time. Because otherwise you're just an asshole. Like there's very few, like even if there was a reason, it wouldn't be justified. But there's got to be some kind of something just random. Like I guess that's why some coaches don't move past high school.
Well, you get lost in the moment sometimes too, and you got to we've all been in high school. We were all high schoolers at one point. You do dumb shit.
Well, those definitely weren't high schoolers.
Yeah, they were.
No, they were younger than that.
No, they were high schoolers. It was a high school game.
I saw a young group of kids doing it too.
Colin, we're almost 40.
No. It was before high school.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
No. I definitely saw one that it wasn't high schoolers.
All right, to the Google machine.
Yeah, let's let Joe do it because
this, this particular aspect, detail of the whole story is the most important.
I'm telling you, they were high schoolers. It was a high school game. John Boy would not lie to me.
I'm not sure. Well, either way, what the Broncos did to the Saints should be considered assault because they whooped that ass.
Finally. Isn't it amazing what happens? I mean, yes, they only scored 3 points in the first quarter, but isn't it amazing how much better your team runs when you come out right away and just go?
All right, so Texas high school players reprimanded after spanking. Texas high school football team slammed after players spank opponents. High school football spanking. I think they were in high school.
There had to be a second one that I saw that those kids were way smaller than that. I'm telling you, I know I saw one that you did too, but it must have been something that started. Maybe the high school kids one started, and I saw the second one where the kids were going down the line, and they were not high schoolers. I can promise you that.
That would be kind of funny though. Some like Pee-wee football kids are just like, "Hey, we saw them do it."
If I was the Pee-wee coach, nope, that line's done. Get on that goal line. You're gonna run till I puke.
Until I puke. I ran until I puked the other night when I had to take the light rail here and sprint from a shuttle bus stop, not even the light rail stop. I haven't ran since I puked in a long time, guys.
Okay, so I see the one that you're talking about that video. That's not the video I saw.
That's your fault then.
Yeah, there was definitely a different one with younger kids.
Oh,
For
wow.
sure. I can promise you that.
Crazy.
Because those look like high schoolers for sure.
Yeah.
Those are not Pee Wee.
That's what I was like, Colin, what do you no.
No, there's another one of yeah. Because one of the kids on the other team in the other video, he towers above the other guy, and that's how you could tell they're Pee Wee.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like there ain't no way. But now I see the video that you're talking about, the other one that became famous, but I don't know if I can find that other one. I'll have to look at my viewed history on Twitter. But yes, that's whoop that ass.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and transition since we're all excited about it anyway. 4-3. Bo's showing some signs of improvement. Yes, he's still going to have things to work on, and I'm not christening him the next John Elway. I'm not saying he's going to be the next Peyton Manning. You know what? I'll be happy if he's just a serviceable quarterback that's a Joe Flacco. I think
he's going to be the next Bo Nix.
Yeah, but he can get the Broncos to a Super Bowl at some point with the correct supporting cast.
Yeah, I could see that. I would say in terms of playing style, not at all like Joe Flacco, but I don't think that was your point. But yeah, kind of one of those, not to the level of like Trent Dilfer or Brad Johnson, like better than those guys.
Yeah.
But still definitely a guy that with the team around him could, get you a Super Bowl. Like one of my favorite unsung hero guys was Alex Smith, who I always felt like they always had teams around him, just never quite was able to get over the hump for one reason or another. Bo Nix kind of reminds me of him in playing style too, a little bit more inclined to run than Alex Smith was. But then again, Alex Smith sucked for the first 4 or 5 years of his career. So during that time, maybe he ran all the time and I just didn't care because they were terrible.
I think Alex Smith might be a little too much of a comparison. I think Alex Smith was better with his footwork than him. Smarter with the football for sure than he has been. Maybe a combination of like Alex Smith, because he did use his legs more when he was a rookie. Alex Smith did.
Okay.
I called him Kirk Cousins beforehand, but Kirk Cousins didn't have the mobility that Bo Nix has. So maybe I would say a blend of Alex Smith and Kirk Cousins, because you still saw some mixes.
Ooh,
but either way, neither one of those guys won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true. Alex Smith was kicked out of Kansas City before he had a chance to win a Super Bowl. There was that pesky Patrick kid that they, I guess, drafted.
But that's what I was going to say. I would be happy if it goes the Alex Smith way and he wins some games, and then all of a sudden the Broncos get gifted a Hall of Fame quarterback after the fact at some point, and then that leads them to a Super Bowl, and he gets the Broncos back to some sort of relevance.
Yep, Braden Pelosi.
They're not. You're getting muted. I hope you didn't stay at the station to say nothing, Joe.
This is our podcast. You don't get to mute people on here.
I do.
Oh, just you wait.
I don't know. I mean, there are things. I titled this "Is it beginning?" because what I saw in this game was really the old, out with the old, in with the new. A lot. We saw, besides Javonte Williams, I mean, hell, Sean Payton tried to get Audric Estime involved, but Estime can't stop fumbling the damn ball. No. He was definitely getting Jaleel McLaughlin involved, but Troy Franklin starting, Devon Bailey playing, Marvin Mims getting playing time, Lucas Kroll. Guess who's not around anymore? Mr. Dulcich.
Yep.
See you later. Inactive for the third game.
The least second for sure.
And so what we're seeing, or what I'm seeing right now, is that the Broncos they're letting the kids play. And this is one thing I talked about, especially with Troy Franklin, who didn't need to have a great game. He had a good game, but he had a terrible preseason. We all agree.
Oh, yeah.
He looked like he didn't belong on the field.
Team.
But the one thing that I did say, too, is I wonder if he's just a gamer. And it appears that he is just a gamer. Put him in the games. Him and Bo Nix do have some chemistry. It wasn't just an Oregon thing. They have something together, and I think it really did start 2 weeks ago when Los Angeles, the Chargers were here in Denver, and I was watching the game, and I won my live touchdown bet because I saw how involved Troy Franklin was and how Bo Nix was looking his way. There is a comfort level. So is this the start of the youth movement? And with that, obviously Cortland Sutton, as I alluded to, Jonah, if you would have listened to me, take the under, got no targets. Like he wasn't looked at the whole game. And when you talk about a number one wide receiver and what Sean Payton was saying about him, well, he's being double covered and bracketed. You're a number one wide receiver. If you're paid like a number one wide receiver, you have to get open. And you know what? You're not. That's why you shouldn't be paid like one. You got what you deserved here in Denver. There's your money. Thank you for your service. And it's time for the Broncos to move on. They're moving on with the youth movement. And like I said, Sutton got what he deserved. He got a little raise for staying through all this crap. But he just showed that he doesn't deserve the $25 million that he wants every single season. Because if you're number one, you find a way to get open or at least a target.
Yeah.
Even guys facing Patrick Surtain get targeted at least once. So, and that's not the best example because Surtain is the best cornerback in the NFL, but you are the best receiver playing a depleted Saints team and you can't find a way to get open or get a look. It just shows where you are in the pecking order and where you are in the echelon of wide receivers in the NFL. I love Cortland Sutton. He's been great to the Broncos, but I think he has an overhyped sense of value within the wide receiver community.
Well, especially because he's the senior guy, so he thinks that I'm the number one just because I've been here through all this, through thick and thin, and I deserve all this. Dude, I took the under on 3.5 catches on you, and I got it right.
Yeah,
3.5 in a 60-minute football game. You couldn't catch more than 3 footballs.
Couldn't catch more than one. Couldn't catch one.
Yeah,
that's why I'm throwing my chef under the bus.
No, make sure he understands that if you watch Broncos game, you know that he's not being targeted anymore. He's a decoy.
Like I said, I appreciate what Sutton has done, but this is the change into the next part. The defense has guys who are getting opportunities to play, stepping up. Obviously defensive touchdown. There's still mistakes. I mean, they're still
going to do that though. They're
both through for 164.
Yeah,
it's like
I mean, if you have 75 on the ground, that's a pretty decent day for the quarterback. But you don't want him to be relying on those rushing skills because they're going to go away. Look at Russell Wilson.
Yeah, no, for sure, and it's just there's growth. And there's things, but once again, we're looking at this, and there's a lot of different ways to spin it. That it's Sean Payton beating up on his old friends and the coaches that he knows again. It's the Broncos beating up on teams that are depleted. But one thing, I picked the Saints to win this game because the Broncos have typically had a letdown in this. Because I didn't believe that they would come to play and beat a team that they would walk in there like they should win it, and they proved me wrong. They proved to me that they know how to keep the foot on the gas against a team that they should beat. And they've done that now 3 times, which is really good to see. Like I said, we haven't seen that in, I mean, how many years has it been since we've seen the Broncos really just dominate 3 teams that they should beat?
Yeah. And that's what
in one season.
Past history shows us that, if they would have gone into that, if they would have had that Saints team last year, they would have rolled over and died. They probably would have lost 38-2 because Bo Nix stepped out of bounds trying to throw the football and he got a safety.
It would have been.
If the Saints team was healthy last year, yeah, but their offensive line was completely decimated. Like Alvin Kamara couldn't move the ball. That was why Derek Carr got hurt, was because they had such a horrible set of injuries on their interior offensive line specifically.
Yeah, but
so I feel like this was almost like a It honestly, it reminded me a lot of the COVID game. That's why I put on YouTube Revenge for Kendall Hinton, because they just didn't have it. They had kind of no chance. Like their line could not block and create any kind of space for their best player, arguably, in Kamara. And then Spencer Rattler, he's not. He might get there, but that's just a bad situation too to put a rookie quarterback in. But they were just so depleted, and especially with Olave and Rashid Shaheed down, like they just didn't really have anything. And it wasn't like the Giants from years ago where all the receivers were down, but they still had an offensive line and tight ends, and maybe Saquon Barkley did this before they drafted him. But like these Saints just had nothing this week. And I was going to say, too, with the Cortland Sutton thing, Marshawn Lattimore was on him pretty much the whole game, but Marshawn Lattimore got hurt in the third quarter. So that is only an excuse for a little bit more than the first half of the game for Cortland Sutton not getting a single target, because Marshawn Lattimore draped over Mike Evans, who is amazing, that's kind of one of those things where those two players kind of have that rapport together, but it didn't matter because even after he didn't have Marshawn Lattimore on him, he couldn't get himself a single target. So
yeah, but I was gonna say that's the difference though. Mike Evans still got targeted.
Yeah,
like Cortland Sutton didn't, and
yeah,
that's really the big difference. Like he just literally was taken out of the game completely, not a target, not a look. It was just like, okay, we're not even going there. No matter what, if you're number one wide receiver, you at least get if you get a game where you don't get a look or a target, where you're not a number one wide receiver in the NFL.
No.
I mean, and I'm not saying if Troy Franklin was guarded by Marshawn Lattimore, he would have had the same game. Of course he wouldn't have, but he would have gotten targeted. I bet you Bo Nix would have looked his way because he has faith in him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I bet you if it was Bailey, he would have looked his way too. If Lattimore was on him, at least once. Cortland Sutton wasn't even a part of this offensive game plan. And you have a number one wide receiver, your highest paid guy, you don't get schemed out at all. That's my point for that.
Yeah.
And I think too, yeah, like I said, they were beat up, but I also think Kamara, I mean, after the game, hey, bring me in. Kamara on the Broncos. Okay. Now let's talk about something kind of exciting because that is something I feel like after their first two games in New Orleans, that team has fallen apart. They lost their quarterback. They've obviously lost their receivers. And
faith in them, apparently.
There was already rumors of Kamara wanting a trade before the season, his house being up for sale. That would be something I wouldn't be opposed to because Kamara, no Sean Payton system. He would be a lot of help as far as a great outlet for Bo Nix and a rookie quarterback, which Javonte, as good of a game, great 2 touchdowns, 80 yards, as good of a game as that was for him. Those are career highs. Alvin Kamara is a different animal.
Oh, yeah.
In comparison. And so bring him in here. Let Javonte Williams be a specialty third down, whatever type of back, and just let's go.
Yeah. I would go the opposite. I'd have Kamara be the third down guy and, mix in a little bit of Javonte on certain drives here and there. The short yardage, that's what you want Javonte for, goal line. But Kamara's a better receiver, maybe not a better blocker, but he'll just be more effective on third down, I feel like. But like that idea of just Javonte is a specialist and comes in, spells Kamara whenever. Yeah. I kind of like that for him. I think that could potentially work out. But so I'm looking real quick here. Fantasy points are a little bit different because he gets a lot of receiving yards too. But against Kansas City, 11 carries, 26 yards. Tampa Bay, 13 carries, 40 yards. And then against us, 7 carries for 10 yards. For the past 3 weeks when they've had all their offensive line issues, poor guy can't do anything on the ground, and it's not his fault. They have no one there blocking for him. So that might be a good, you may be able to get him for cheap because he hasn't had the amazing success recently. So that could actually be a plus for the Broncos.
Well, I believe Kamara in his career doesn't have a 100-yard rushing game.
No, he's got one against Dallas, 115.
Okay. Oh, this year?
Yep.
That might have been his first. That might have been his first because I remember a stat or like his first in years because there are like he has combined yards over 100, but he's not just the running back. That's why I say he should be in on first, second downs, and like third down specialty back is what I was talking about with Javonte. But Kamara can play third downs because then you have another weapon. Maybe you have Kamara and Javonte back there. Javonte just stays in the block, and Kamara is the one who's going to get the ball. He's a weapon that the Broncos don't have. If he came in here, I would say not knowing the playbook, but he probably does know the playbook. But he would automatically be the most explosive player on this offense right away. Guaranteed. And so maybe it doesn't happen in season because the Broncos don't want to lose any trade assets or value because they could still lose some games and have a higher draft pick, even though I think Kamara would probably go for a 4th right now, maybe a 3rd. I think that in the offseason, that's a real possibility of Kamara coming to Denver.
Yeah, for free. Well, you have to pay him, but
you would have to give up. I think it would just be a compensatory pick because I think this is his last year on his contract.
That'd be phenomenal.
Yeah. So I just
go
ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I think that he does want to reunite, and we're going to see a bit of that Sean Payton West, much like when the Broncos were bringing in Peyton Manning's friends. And I'm not trying to, relate this to the Peyton Manning time, because I don't think that the success is going to come that way. But we see it all the time where coaches bring in the guys that they know, and Peyton was bringing in, Peyton was basically the coach on the field, but bringing in guys that he had played with and liked, and we saw guys elevated because he liked them. So Sean will do much of the same thing.
Oh,
Nick,
it won't show me game by game, but it shows me like season stats. I'm trying to see if he ever had any over 100-yard rushing games. Because, I mean, honestly, though, that stat doesn't really surprise me that much. He's such a great receiving back. Like, the Saints lived off of those screen passes from Drew Brees to Alvin Kamara for a few years. Like, that dude is, that's a phenomenal player. Like, we've all been talking about trying to bring in a receiver or a tight end maybe, because the running backs, even though they're not amazing, they've been better, maybe good enough. But I don't hate that idea. Sometimes you just got to get somebody better. Maybe they end up trading Javonte somewhere else also because they bring in Kamara. Who knows? I don't know if I'd love that. I like the idea of both, but yeah, I'm in. Fuck it, sign me up. Let's go.
I just what is that? Not looking.
Nick's frozen.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. He is definitely frozen. I'm looking at Kamara's stats. His rookie year, he had one against Buffalo.
Okay.
I'm just going here in 2017, not going through all of them, but he hasn't had a ton. Like I said, maybe it's the first one since then. His second year, he had one against the Giants.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe
Sean
one
Payton
a year,
doesn't
like that.
So he's going to be he's just going to run less and less. And the fact that Alvin Kamara was so effective in the passing game meant that Sean Payton could run less.
Yeah, maybe. 22. He's never had more than one a year, it looks like, in his career. And some years he's had none.
Damn it, where's Nick? Everybody gets one.
He's okay. I like 2021. He had 3 100-yard rushing games. That was the last ones.
Yeah, because Breeze was gone in 21, I believe. That was Taysom Hill, wasn't
it? Unless that's yards from scrimmage. I don't know. This might actually just be yards from scrimmage. I don't know. This is what I'm looking at. Either way, he doesn't have a lot of 100-yard rushing games.
Yeah,
and so it'd be great to bring him in. I think that even where the Broncos are sitting right now, if it's a low enough trade value, I mean, maybe they're out of wide receivers in New Orleans. Maybe you send Cortland Sutton down there for Alvin Kamara straight up. I think that would be fun if you could flip Sutton for Kamara this year, because obviously he's unhappy there, and I'm sure the coaching staff and the everyone there heard his comments after the game to Sean Payton. So maybe they're just like, let's just get him out of here. I would love if that could be an easy swap. Kamara, Sutton, send it.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I would enjoy that. It'd be a little bit weird to see from the offense, because even though Cortland Sutton wasn't getting the targets and getting all of the stuff, he was getting more attention from the defense, which does help the other guys. But when that's all you're getting out of your number one receiver, that's not worth it at all. But it would switch things up to where now, who do they cover? Do they just try to run a more blanket style coverage, or do they just start doubling Devon Vele? Who would they put as the number one receiver on the depth chart after they trade Cortland Sutton?
I mean, my guess would be Troy Franklin, because he started alongside Cortland Sutton last game. Okay. And even going beyond that, it does help the offense though a lot more to have that running game and that guy in Kamara, because the safeties then can't just stay back and wait for Bo Nix to make a mistake and pick him off and catch a flying duck. It's
because he can just dump it to Kamara and he'll run for 30. And
you have to respect that. So I think there's a lot more. Kamara brings a lot more value to the table right now than Cortland Sutton does, in my opinion. And as much as I was banging the table to trade Sutton for whatever you could get from the last few years, I think that if you were to trade Sutton for Kamara straight up, that would have been the best trade value that the Broncos could have gotten over the last 3 years. I think that would be better than any draft pick value they could have had, because we already know that Alvin Kamara is a commodity. We know what he does. We know he works in Sean Payton's offense. So I think that would literally be the best possible outcome that I didn't see even as a possibility 2 years ago when I started pounding the table for Sun to be traded for something.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the only deal that we would know for sure that was offered was a 3rd-round pick. And I think Kamara's worth more than a 3rd-round pick. I don't love us giving up a 3rd-round pick with our limited draft assets, but that's why, like you're saying, you might be able to get him for a 4 or 5.
So let me ask you guys a question. And I was thinking about this while I was sitting there in limbo. How
low can you go?
Not that limbo. Purgatory. Internet purgatory.
Yeah, I know.
So Broncos are 4-3 right now. Next opponent is the Panthers. Again, a game they should win, so that would put them up to 5-3. There are 2 games in your loss record that you should have won those games. But it is what it is. We'll look past that. They have the potential to be in the playoff conversation right now. Because you figure they still have to play Cleveland. They still have to play Cincinnati. There's 2 more wins right there. That's 7. That's what I have.
Yeah. No, Cincinnati is not a guaranteed.
Don't say Cincinnati yet.
Yeah. We're not on to Cincinnati.
I don't know. Well, I mean, if I start Joe Burrow, it'll be a win.
All right, Nick, take one for the team.
If I have to, I will. You have another game against the Raiders. You have another game against the Chargers and the Falcons. Obviously after Baltimore or after Carolina,
Baltimore, KC.
You have Baltimore and KC back to back, and those are both early games as well.
Oh, go
ahead.
I mean, I get what you're saying with looking ahead, but this is also a team that has been bitten by the injury bug. So even forecasting out for 3 weeks from now is a little scary because they haven't been.
No, I'm not going 3 weeks out. I'm not going 3 weeks out.
You're going after Baltimore.
No.
Yeah, you are. You
shut up for a minute. I can tell you what I'm doing here. Jesus Christ. Give a guy a second. Let me build up the question. If the Broncos go on and they continue to win, are you happy now with them being a playoff team now? Or do you want them to start flopping as soon as they hit Baltimore and KC and start falling down the hill? Because no matter what, you're going to be stuck in the middle again. Do you want playoffs in a higher draft, in a lower draft choice, I guess, or do you want them to hit the wall after Carolina and hope to God that you stumble upon maybe right now another Bo Nix at a different position?
I mean, for that question, I hope Bo Nix progresses. I don't know what
he's progressing.
Somewhat, yeah, but there's still plenty that's.
Well,
there's still a lot that's wrong. I understand he's a rookie quarterback.
How long did it take you to learn how to be a chef?
Joe, I don't know. I just was in the kitchen a lot. I don't know. I still don't know what I'm doing. I still don't know what I'm doing on here. I don't know what I'm doing anywhere. So I'm not anything. I'm just a freaking talking head, front running mouth breather.
There goes that. So Joe, how long did it take you to learn your jobs?
Depends on the job. I'm great at everything. I mean, come on. I knew it all the whole time. No, definitely.
Okay, I was on mute again.
Takes time, but it's, you gotta be patient. Like Josh Allen was really bad in his rookie year. He missed a lot of throws, and not like every bad rookie quarterback isn't going to turn into Josh Allen, but you got to give it a little bit of time. And honestly, the biggest jump is going to come in the offseason. So we got what we have right now with Bo Nix. He's steadily getting a little bit better each week, which is really all you can ask for in the middle of the season, because you're not going to just end up with a CJ Stroud out of nowhere, just fucking dropping dimes on people. But yeah,
what are you happier with?
I don't want the Broncos to be winning kind of fluky. I don't want them to be winning fluky. Okay. Once again, I go back to what I mentioned is that the teams that they were playing and the ones that they've beaten have all been kind of injured and beat up, and they're guys that Sean Payton knows. So yes, I feel like that's fluky because every year you're not going to run into that. So I want to see Bo Nix progress. So if it's Bo Nix progressing and them losing, I'm fine. If it's Bo Nix progressing and them winning, I'm fine. But I don't want Bo Nix to be staying the same as he has been the last few weeks, and then the Broncos winning because they're facing teams that are just filled with their depth chart is shorter than the injury report. Okay, That's what I don't want to happen, because it's a false confidence in your team. It's the Minnesota Vikings of 2 years ago who barely won any of their games by more than 3 points, who were paper tigers going in the playoffs.
Was that Teddy Bridgewater?
I think it was Cousins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was Cousins.
But no, they did that a couple times. They did it with Case Keenum too.
Yeah.
Keenum?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I don't want.
No, but
so when you're saying
live in a positive world for a minute.
No, that's what I am saying. So if Bo Nix is progressing and they're winning, and he's the reason why they're staying or winning games. I mean, what game has Bo Nix won for the Broncos? I mean, I know we're 7 weeks in, and you shouldn't have to win all of them, but what game has he won? Has he lost a game for the Broncos?
Oh yeah, I was there when he threw the interception in the end zone. But again, he's a rookie. That was early in the season too.
If you can lose a game, you can win a game.
Give him time. Give him time. He's still John Elway taking snaps under the tackle.
So what did the happy vampire say to the guy at the blood drawing place?
Be positive.
Be positive.
I don't know. Again, I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying they're that type of team. But this is a better team than last year. This is a different team than last year. And, I mean, last year, obviously, everybody was clamoring for them to fall off the mountain, land on the trees and the rocks down below, get themselves up, dust themselves off, and take their high pick and run into the season. They did that. They got Bo Nix. They picked themselves up. They dust themselves off, and they ran into the season. And, I mean, we're getting what we wanted as fans. We're getting a team that's improving weekly. We have a good quarterback right now. Again, I'm not saying he's a Pro Bowler. I'm not saying anything. He's serviceable. He's learning. And the NFL is a different beast than college football. And some fans are starting to learn that just because you're a high draft pick, because we live in this impatient world now where everything is right now, that it does take some time for some of these guys to grow. And like Joe said, Buffalo had to live through it.
Okay, but Josh Allen is a bad example, because Josh Allen is a one-off of a guy who took 3 years of starting and then he got figured out in that last year. There aren't a lot of other guys who were as bad as Josh Allen was for his first 2 seasons, who then the third year popped off. Like that is a very bad hope and a prayer for a Broncos fan, to hope that you go through 2 seasons of really ugly football from Bo Nix, and then all of a sudden he's a Josh Allen.
But we're not getting ugly football from him either, though.
Guess we?
No, we're not.
We kind of are.
It's ugly, but it's prettier than Josh Allen.
It's not ugly. It's serviceable. It's not great. It's not good. It's serviceable.
Nick.
Josh Allen's team wasn't winning with defense because he was throwing picks.
And yeah, Bo Nix, to his credit, he hasn't thrown picks.
Yeah. So who's a better
lately.
receiver, John Brown with the Bills or Cortland Sutton with the Broncos? Like, dude, the parallels are actually kind of crazy. Obviously, he's not the talent that Josh Allen is, clearly, but you see guys. I would argue Kyler Murray. Obviously, he showed more flashes in his rookie year, but he was all over the place. He wasn't very good either. But I think a lot of that too was the combo of him and Cliff Kingsbury. They at least knew what they wanted to do, which was the spread offense, but I don't think they knew what they were doing.
Yeah. I mean, Kyler's pretty close, because he didn't have wide receivers his first year, and then they went and got him some.
Yeah.
That might be a better one, Joe. I like that. I just, like I said, I don't want the Broncos to win on defense, because not just on defense, because I need to see something from Bo Nix winning some games, or at least, leading the way to their wins, not the defense. Because the one thing that we've seen in Broncos country, we've seen the Broncos win the championship with the defense, and then how long did that defense last after?
Yeah, well, some of those guys were older too. So I mean, you broke down the no-fly zone. Eventually, Vaughn gets traded.
What happened? I mean,
draft Bradley Chubb to play opposite of Vaughn, and that trade happens.
I put a lot of that more on like Elway for just not being able to keep that defense together. and just being so unwilling to pay players.
Well, but tell me how many.
But you're right, Colin. You're not going to be able to keep a lot of those guys. They could have kept it together for like maybe one more year, but guys, you have to pay them, and you don't have money.
I mean, elite defenses year over year over year, they don't stay the same at the same level. You can go back to the early Ravens. Were they still good? Yeah, they were still damn good after their Super Bowl, but they didn't continue that trend as the best, most dominant, defense year after year. And that's what the Broncos have been living on the last 2 years. And that's what they've been winning on. And yes, it works. You can have that, but you can't replicate that year after year after year to the same level. Can you be very good every year? Yeah, I believe you can be very good, but you can't be as good as the Broncos are consistently because it's never been done in history.
First for everything. All right.
But also,
still waiting on Bo Nick's first game-winning drive.
Sure. I mean, but also after the Ravens won their Super Bowl, Ray Lewis retired. So
yeah,
they lost their best player because if you're talking about the 2002 Super Bowl, they had a great defense pretty much Ray Lewis's career. Obviously, they weren't like the top, but also the Steelers had generationally great defense too during that time period.
I mean, he did have a killer attitude.
There you go. But there's team, but I don't think the Broncos are trying to build a team like that. They're just trying to build what they have. Right now, it's defense. So you go with what you got. You run with that, and then hopefully next year the offense can get more talented, and hopefully this year the offense can get more effective with the talent that they have. And who knows? Like we were talking about trades earlier, maybe they get more talented too.
Yeah, and that's why I was talking about the offense and these rookies and the young guys playing, or the rookies playing because Javon Bailey isn't necessarily a young guy.
Yeah,
like just having these rookies playing a lot more, you see that, and that's what the trend is. And like I said, if it were to be that pipe dream, maybe it isn't quite a pipe dream, but Sutton for Kamara, you get Kamara in here who knows what playoffs are like. He knows what, championship football is like.
And him and Sean get along.
There you go. I mean, I definitely would call it a pipe dream, but oil companies had pipe dreams. Look at them.
I mean, like I said, the Saints could be selling.
Well, and you got to think too, after COVID, college football got kind of screwed up too, because you got guys, like you said, Colin, guys that are 25, 26 still playing college football because they managed.
I love Sanders.
Because they managed to stick around through a loophole. And so, there's that problem too. You're trying to draft guys, and you've got these guys that have more game experience and are already mid-20s, and you're giving them a rookie contract, later into their life. Not that there's anything wrong with that if they're worthy of it, but that age is going to show itself a lot quicker in those guys than it is in your 19, 20, 21-year-olds that you're drafting in the first and second rounds.
I mean, Vele's 2 years younger than Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, let's not get anything twisted here.
So what is he, 26?
7.
That's amazing. He's a 27-year-old rookie.
Because he had his mission, right?
Yeah.
27, I'm like 90% sure.
I believe you.
Yeah. So, I mean, speaking of Sanders, the Buffs head to the desert to face the Arizona Wildcats today. The Wildcats are coming off a 2-game losing streak, and the Buffs are coming off yet another heartbreaker because Prime doesn't know how to use timeouts or challenges. Sorry, not mad about it.
Yeah, totally.
Stupid decision, but it is what it is. Can the Buffs get back to their winning ways and beat the Wildcats, or is Arizona going to continue their trend of beating the Buffaloes?
I mean, they can. They should. But whether they do is another story, because this is a team that it seems very flaky. We'll see. The talent is there. They've got it, and maybe the heartbreaker continues to galvanize them and push them forward and really go like, man, we were this close. But I don't know. It's kind of like how Colin was talking about the Broncos. Like this is a team that they should beat. Yeah. And I hope that they will, as long as they're not, practicing incompletions or, changing the play to a deep throw when you're trying to run the ball out on first down. Not throwing a 5-yard play, throwing a 30-yard play when you need 5, stuff like that. Timeouts, like Nick said.
Challenges.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough going down to Arizona and winning this
It's
game.
homecoming too for Arizona, so that's not going to help either.
You have an Arizona team who is playing better football and is kind of a little bit of a kryptonite. I don't know. They seem to play well, like you said, Nick. And so, can they continue it? I mean, what I'm going to go with is the trend of Broncos win, Buffs win. So yeah, they're going to win this. They're going to win today.
I'm
Why
good
not?
with it.
That's how it works, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're wearing the whites today too.
I think they do come out because after playing a tough K-State team, and that was a tough loss. I think they do respond because they know they can hang with the big boys, and this is kind of one of those. Hey, you still got to show up and beat your opponent, and K-State was a better opponent than Arizona. So if there is a letdown, then that's on Prime, and you just got to wonder if he was focused on this game too.
Yeah. And Broncos are going to get back Hunter and that other receiver that got hurt.
The Buffs, you mean?
What did I say?
You said the Broncos.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the other team that's playing.
You heard it here first, folks. Broncos are getting Travis Hunter. It's going to happen.
Yes.
Oh, God. I started an animal.
Here we go.
Oh, I think I started that last week.
Started that down the stupid
hill. Oh, yeah. Damn, Nick, you asked what would have happened, or what the theme would have been earlier if the Broncos went into New Orleans last year. You know what? It would have been let's roll over.
Wow.
I wish I had my Let's Ride pin on this.
Nice.
You froze when I wanted to drop that one earlier.
Oh, so. I apologize for making my computer try to do more than it should. I'm sure there's a background program I'm running somewhere I haven't shut down. Oh, yeah, that's right there, Apple TV.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, the Buffs should be able to come out victorious in this game. And I think the talk of Travis Hunter playing too much and Dion playing him, more and hurting his ability to play at the next level, I think is going to get overblown. And I think this is a Travis Hunter, like, you know what, guys, I can handle it. And just a show me type of game. Like, he's going to try and shut everybody up.
Well, and it's such a tough balance too, because Prime as a parent and a coach, they're both in there with this internal struggle of he wants to go out there and play, let him go out and play. Whereas the other side of him is like, he needs to take a break. He's going to end up hurting his value and maybe himself. I mean, I swear he separated his shoulder. I don't know how, but that's what it looked like because he was dangling his arm when he came off the field, but it wasn't the arm he got hit on. And so I don't know if maybe like
he just landed on it.
It just shook out of the socket or what, but I mean, that dude's got a bright future ahead of him, and there has to be some thinking. It's only 68 degrees right now in Tucson, by the way, gentlemen. That's heavy jacket weather down there for them.
That's crazy.
Get your parkas.
Are they okay? Like, there should be like some kind of like hazard or like emergency.
The lizards and the snakes are hiding.
Yeah,
it's cold.
State of emergency.
Yes, that was the term I couldn't think of. The state of emergency. Declare it. Send in the National Guard. It's under 70.
We got a little carried away with the Broncos, so we'll go ahead and jump out of the Buffs. Game 5 tonight in Cleveland. Yankees have a chance to walk out of the land with another pennant, their first since 2009. I'm not. As you guys have noticed, there's been significant radio silence since the Yankees got into the playoffs because I don't like challenging my team. I don't like doing anything that will ruin the mojo. I've been good. I've behaved, and I'm just gonna nope, not until after game 4 or 7 or whatever of the world, between 4 and 7 of the World Series when the Yankees win. Then I'll be loud.
There it is. The Yankees win.
Yep.
Yeah.
There it is. Yep. He said it.
But until then,
Gauntlet's been thrown.
I'm going to behave. I'm going to be reserved. Although I might go to.
Even though you just called the Yankees win.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, even said when the Yankees win.
Oh,
but I'm behaving. Yeah, you said when.
Always say when the Yankees win.
Yeah, well, there you go. Then you're not behaving.
I am behaving because I'm not blasting it all over social media right now.
Where do you think this posts, Nick?
Right.
Own it. It's on a lot of social media. You kind of blast it out there.
I ran into a lot of people last week, and I already told them can't wait for the World Series.
Can't wait for the World Series or for the Yankees to win the World Series?
The Yankees to win the World Series, obviously.
I don't know.
Yeah, see, I'm excited for the World Series too. We're all going to get the series that we all deserve in, Cleveland and the Mets.
Trying not to get us kicked off, but onside kick right now, and I believe the Buffs recovered it.
Oh wow, that's a hell of a start of a game.
So they're coming out aggressive.
Tweet.
Yeah,
Nice.
Broncos. Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, Broncos are you sure you didn't screen?
Are you sure you didn't mean the Dodgers are winning the World Series there, Nick?
No, they're not.
They could. I don't know.
What you were talking about last night's game where the Guardians come back and tie the game. That's it for them. They're done.
Yeah,
they really are. That was their chance. If they had gone on to win that game, this could have been a series. Unfortunately, I maybe the Guardians end up pulling this one out tonight against the Yankees, but I'm just the Yankees are going to win this series either way. I don't see how Cleveland can recover from the comeback that they had yesterday and the opportunities that they had, especially after they had the miracle comeback and Fry's home run in extra innings to win Game 3. So it's going to be very difficult. Is it impossible? No, but the writing on the wall does say the Yankees are winning. As far as the Dodgers and Mets go,
so is that series one?
That's a tough one.
Is Yankees Guardians says that 3-1 right now?
Yeah, it's 3-1 Yankees tonight's game 5. They got Rodon on the hill against Bibby.
And so as far as the Mets and Dodgers go, the Dodgers last night just kind of reasserted their dominance too. I really believe that it's just set up that we really are going to see the two best teams in Major League Baseball in the World Series, and it's going to be an East Coast, West Coast, Dodgers, Yankees game or series, and it should be a very fun one. Once again, crazy things can happen. Something could change, but the Mets miracle run has unfortunately ended basically at this point.
Not yet.
It's not over yet, but
which is surprising because the Dodgers have had so many injuries with their pitching that I would have thought the Mets. I mean, they did make it a good series, and the Buffs just put it on the board 6-0.
Nice.
3 plays.
I mean, it's like that series is 3-2 headed back to LA for the last 2 games, and you gotta. Do you believe? You got to believe that the Dodgers are going to win one of those 2 games and go on to the series.
The good thing for the Mets, though, is they have Manaea pitching again. Manaea undefeated in the postseason so far.
And I get that, but also, what have we seen in this postseason? These starting pitchers have much faster hooks. They're not pitching the same. So yeah, Manaea might be undefeated, but I don't think that they're going to leave him out there if he gives up 2 runs to get Slaughter and put him behind. These managers are going to their bullpen a lot quicker in all of these series.
Well, the good thing though is you're coming off a travel day though too, so your whole bullpen's rested. As you get into LA, you just got to be smart about balancing.
The Dodgers.
No, I know, but I'm trying to help the Mets here a little bit. You guys are all about.
You're afraid of facing the Dodgers.
No, I'm not. I'm afraid of facing Shohei.
Let's go, Mets.
Absolutely. I would take the Mets every day, all day, over facing Shohei Ohtani. Thankfully, he's kind of in a little bit of a Shohei slump, which is basically he's just not hitting a home run every game.
A little bit different than Aaron Judge slump.
Yeah, well, and I'm sick of Teoscar Hernandez too. That dude's just he needs to get drilled in the ribs. But that's a whole story for a whole other time. Right now, it's Colin's time.
This is the victory formation.
All right, boys, here we go. Best play in football. 6 right tight diamond victory on 1. Break.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, it's jam.
The Pick'em segment proving that Colin Zanker is the most humble man in the history of time. Least. Featuring Nick Archuleta wishing he was somewhere else. And Joe Goodwin just kind of winging it.
That's right, this is the victory formation, and it's very appropriate that the start of the victory formation goes 3-2-1. because that's how many wins each of us had in this last week set of picks. 3-2, 2-3, 1-4. Start off with the Bills versus the Jets on Monday Night Football. The Jets lost, and the Bills came out victorious. Joe, the only one to pick the Jets in that game, or the Bills in that game. Liberty versus the Lynx. This was Thursday's game.
I picked the Jets in that game, right? And the Jets.
Or Nick was the only one to get that one correct. You are correct, Joe.
Okay.
You picked him. So Nick was the only one to get that right. Next, we move on to WNBA. Liberty versus Lynx in game 3. The game 3 that I also won live betting, and I chose the Liberty to win that game live betting. Unfortunately, during the victory formation, I did not pick them to win. I picked the Lynx to win that, but during live betting, I did, and Sabrina Ionescu hits a 3 dagger at the buzzer with 1 second left to seal that game. So I lost in the victory formation, but I won real money. So I'm fine with that. Me and Nick both picked the Lynx in that, and we should have picked the Lynx in game 4 because that's where they won their last one yesterday. We move on to the Broncos Saints. Y'all already know I picked the Saints, and I'm the good luck charm because I didn't jinx the Broncos by choosing them. So Nick and Joe both got that correct for 1909. Me and Joe picked the Guardians to beat the Yankees in game 3, which, as I just mentioned, they did.
Oh, cool.
So that was also 1909. And we all picked the Mets to lose or to beat the Dodgers, which was wrong in game 3. That means I was the one who won one game, and that means I lost $20.91, knocking me out of first place down to third place at 739.46. Joe, you ended up winning the most this week, 35.22, bringing you back into first place at 740.41, but that's less than $1 more than me. Nick, you are back in first place at winning $7.42 this week at 758. So we are all within $17 of each other, $17.40 basically.
Wow.
Of each other. So we've all won over $700 this year with Real Bets Fake Money. Let's get into the games that we're picking for this weekend up until I guess we haven't talked about it. So I haven't included Monday Night Football yet, but I might have to do that. Yankees versus Guardians. Why am I even starting on this one? So all right, so Nick is taking the Yankees to win tonight. Joe, Yankees or Guardians tonight? Guardians are underdogs at home at plus 115.
Do you believe in love? Yeah, we're gonna take Cleveland because it's funny.
Okay.
Believe land.
This is really a tough one because I really do want this to be a longer series and more baseball to be played. But I like I said, after last night, I really think that was the gut punch that sends the keeps the Guardians home and sends the Yankees on the World Series. Next, we move on to the Mets and Dodgers tomorrow night, Sunday baseball, game 6, 3-2. Dodgers lead the series. Mets underdogs at plus 120 in Chavez Ravine. Dodgers minus 145 favorites. Joe, who you got?
That facial expression, it's a grimace.
He is taking the Mets to force a game 7. I am not. No matter what Nick said about this travel day in Sean Mania, the Dodgers have beaten the Mets. I think the Mets miracle is done. So, Nick, who you got?
I hate Kike Hernandez, so I'm going to go with the Dodgers. He's going to ruin everything for me.
Wait, you hate Kike Hernandez, so you're going with the Dodgers?
Yeah, because he's going to ruin everything. He's going to end the series tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you hate him, but you're picking him to win.
Yeah.
So you're rooting for him, but you hate him.
I'm not rooting for him. I'm just saying he's going to win.
Okay. Okay. I don't get your sense there, or I don't get what you're doing there, Nick, but all right. Next, we move on to London. Patriots versus the Jags.
London again?
Yeah. The Jags are the home London favorites at minus 250. Patriots plus 205 with possibly Drake May starting again. I don't know what's going on. The Jag, I think I'm going to go with the Patriots on this one. I just changed my mind. I think that, oh God, no, the Jags have been in London 2 straight weeks. Never mind. I'm going with the Jags. The Patriots, Drake May did have a pretty good game last week. I'm going back to the Patriots. I'm going with the Patriots. Nick, who you got?
You're doing the same thing I was doing in my head. I'm gonna go with the Jags because they've been in London already.
Joe, who you got?
I don't know. I mean, I said it the past 2 weeks, so why not 3 in a row? It's a home game for Jacksonville. The Patriots looked decent because Drake May wasn't terrible, but he wasn't very good either. I'm gonna pick the Jaguars, and then they're gonna lose, and they're gonna fire Doug Peterson.
And we're going to be nice because Joe has had such a rough week. That is not that would have been the lose bad, but Joe, don't worry about getting up at 6 a.m.
Appreciate that.
We move on to Sunday Night Football, where it is the Jets and the Steelers. Jets minus 135 favorites in Pittsburgh at plus 114. Nick, who you got?
It's Russ's first game back, so let's go with the Steelers.
Steelers.
He's going to steal a game.
Nick loves Russell Wilson.
Let's
roll over. Joe, who you got?
Let's ride. Who is it again? Steelers and who?
Jets.
That's right. I hate this. I hate this a lot. I might do this as the lose bad, even though it's not a terrible game, just because fucking Russell Wilson versus Nathaniel Hackett.
Hackett got demoted.
He's still there. He's still the OC. He's just not the play caller. Jets.
I am also going with the Jets and Devontae Adams, the new weapon in
I forgot about that.
New Jersey. So give me the Jets and that offense to finally kind of figure something out against the Steelers. And because not quite sure when we're recording, we're going to pick this one before so we don't miss it. We have Monday Night Football, a doubleheader again. Aren't y'all excited?
No.
One of them's got to be good, okay? That's what we've had. We've had one bad, one good. At least we're getting good football on Monday nights. Ravens versus the Buccaneers. I'm not quite sure what the odds are.
That should be a good one.
That should be good, yeah.
I don't have the exact odds, but I'm sure that the Ravens are the favorites. Joe, who you got?
Mike Evans is questionable. I'll take the Ravens.
Joe is taking the Ravens. I did not get to put my pick in for this because I wasn't thinking beforehand. I am going to say, I'm going to go with the Bucs on Monday Night Football at home. Nick, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go Bucs as well. Mike Evans will play anyway. And
did you guys see the newest undercover quarterback episode where Baker Mayfield dressed up like a Florida man and goes undercover at Tampa Bay super fan media day? Tampa Bay!
We'll have to catch that at some point. The last game that we'll have to catch, which it couldn't really be the lose back because it's Monday Night Football, but it could be an ugly game. Chargers versus the Cardinals. Cardinals are underdogs at home, it looks like, at plus 105. I don't have the line for the Chargers right here, but I do see the Cardinals at plus 105. I'm just gonna take the home team again. Give me the Cardinals over the Chargers in this game. Nick, who you got?
I still can't trust Arizona. Give me the Chargers.
Joe, wrap it up.
San Diego Super. Yeah, we're taking the Chargers. They're just a better team. The Cardinals, they're too much of a finesse, high-flying type team, and the Chargers are just going to beat the fuck out of them.
Well, high-flying. How about we feed the ducks a bird that can't fly that high?
To the moon. That's what I was waiting for.
And that's your picks in the victory formation for this week and weekend. We'll see if we have a shorter pick'em segment if we record before the Monday Night Football games. But if we don't, guess what?
It is what
have them in already.
Deal with it. You're still going to tune in anyway.
Yeah,
and we still love you anyway.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thanks everybody for tuning in tonight or this afternoon. Excuse me. I'm not used to doing this in the afternoon yet.
Good morning, also.
We appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you check out e5280sports.com. Thank you, Michael Spillane, and everybody over there that continues to let us continue to do this. And everybody that tunes in and watches and listens, be it now or later on the podcast. I'm trying to rush this so that we can all get out of here and watch the Buffaloes game because they are moving the football again down the field. So, Colin Zanker and Joe Goodwood, I'm Nick Archuleta. This has been Undrafted Uncensored. Deuces.
Get it? Because